Hi, everyone. Mitch from PickDogs.com here with Joe Madden. It is Sunday, April 17th, 2022, here with the live show. We're live 7 days a week, 365 days a year. For those of you looking for it, I have not done my 7 free picks in 5 minutes yet. I went to do it last night, and the data just wasn't there to do it. So I was going to do it this morning, kind of like I did it yesterday. And then I was sending out the newsletter, which those of you that are subscribed to the newsletter get, and I kind of got all wrapped up because I'm so excited about everything that's going on for the NBA playoffs. I'm like, I don't want to miss anything, so I crammed it all in the newsletter. But by the time I was finished, I was 5 minutes late for this show. So, anyways, I'll do the 7 free picks after the premium and VIP. Guess it just won't. Oh boy, it's gonna be hard because all those early baseball games.
Yeah,
I'll figure it out. Always do.
absolutely.
Maybe it'll be
It
a
will
lot
get
of
out.
player props for late games and stuff. Figure it out though.
Oh,
All
that could
right.
be fun, Mitch.
It could be, but it's like I try and get it out as early as
Yeah.
possible. If not, maybe I'll just miss a day. I don't know. I really don't want to, but um, figure it out.
Well, maybe you could do 3.5 picks in 2.5 minutes.
No one does 3.5 picks. No one does 6 minute abs. You can't even get a sweat going.
That would be really
You
funny.
got the 7 minute abs right next to the 8 minute abs. Which one are you gonna pick? Anyways, the NBA playoffs are underway, and not everything goes as planned. And that is sports. Yesterday, not a great day for me in baseball. The favorites, I believe, were running, and that usually means a bad day for me. So I was lucky to salvage a couple wins there, and I'll have to take it and take my bruises and move on to the next day. But the favorite players were certainly in, and hopefully Al Ninos gets a chance to join us because he is a favorite player. I think he only takes favorites, so usually those are his massive days.
Yeah.
So congrats to Al for. I think he had every single. I think the favorites came in almost every single game. So
Wow.
And those run lines with negative odds. All the plays that I'm really down on. They all came in. It's like, this sucks. It's like, come on, Verlander, at least throw some. It's like at least we could always rely on Justin Verlander. It's like that's the beauty of baseball. It's like when all else fails, let's throw a couple bucks on Verlander and start chasing. Anyways, we've got a few cappers with us today. Of course, it is a holiday, so we give the guys a little bit of a pass if they need. I never take a day off, and of course, I don't think Joe's ever missed a day either. So, but it's the nature of the beast. We respect everybody that needs time off, wants to be with their family. All those things super important, especially in you guys as well. But we're here if you need us, and of course, Sports Chat, Place, and Pick Dogs. Locked and loaded with tons of premium picks today. Like I said, if you haven't subscribed to our newsletter, you guys miss out. I put a lot of stuff in there. A lot of things that you guys ask for is a lot of the stuff that I address there. I put betting strategy in there. I use money management, the latest offers, and what's going on at the betting tools, and all those kind of things. So be sure to check it out.
Well, happy Easter to you, Mitch, before I forget to say it.
Happy Easter to everybody. And of course, my favorite thing about Easter is the Peeps. I like Reese's eggs, but the Peeps. I don't even like to eat the Peeps. I just like the material.
What are Peeps? I've seen them. I've never bought them. I've never ate them.
It's like a sugar-coated marshmallow shaped into originally it was just little chickens, but now they have bunnies and all kinds of other stuff.
Okay.
And I just want to give a shout out to my Peeps.
I like it. The original yellow Peeps, or do you go for like the pink and green?
I don't eat any of them. I just like to look at them. I like to just go to the store. I take a picture of them. You got the blue Peeps living with the pink Peeps, the yellow Peeps, all colors of Peeps, all colors of the rainbow, all living together happily on one store shelf.
Nice.
Or if you're lucky, end cap display.
Nice. Well, I love those big, huge cream eggs. I can have like one at Easter, and that's it for the year. But that's my favorite, most definitely.
Yeah, Carolyn, who works with us, that's her thing too. We were having this discussion about how, you know, Friday was Good Friday, but tomorrow is Awesome Monday when you get all the Easter candy at half price, you know. So it's, she was saying that that's what her thing too, those cream eggs. But I'm a
Yeah.
Reese's guy, you know. I think the eggs taste the best. They have bats and, for Halloween and ghosts and Christmas trees and all that stuff, but the eggs are the best,
The
you know.
peeps.
Yes, and then, shout out to my peeps. I just
You
like
know what?
taking pictures.
One chocolate is that my mom gives me every Easter, ginger chocolate. Have you ever had ginger chocolate, Mitch? I love it.
No, I've never had it.
It is absolutely fantastic. If you haven't had it, I suggest you go find some. So it's like the delicate, like chocolate stores. You can't just find it like at Walmart or something like that. So it's really good.
Well, here in Hawaii, they have all sorts of odd chocolates, that's for sure, um, with all kinds of flowers in them and stuff. So
Oh,
that's their
nice.
thing. Yeah. Well, I like just chocolate, you know,
Well, this one has
or
a bit of a kick, that ginger kick. It's interesting.
I like
It's not like
ginger.
bacon chocolate. Bacon chocolate's disgusting. I
Never
don't
had
know.
it.
Any lovers out there of bacon chocolate? Because I
I'm
tried
sure
that.
there are.
That was so wrong.
Sure there are. But we are on Better Call Saul countdown here. I did check everything. I have it, I have it taped, and
Yeah,
running, but it is tomorrow is the season premiere. I'm
there
stoked.
you go.
I'm stoked. I know our audience is all over that as well. But anyways, we've got a few cappers with us. We have Brian and Big Al are with us. I know Jovan and Al Nino should be here later,
Yeah.
but let's get started. Let's get to these NBA playoff games. It is playoff time. Al's Spurs are no longer with us, but they are in the lottery. And I thought they went. I thought, I don't know. I think they need a star player. I think they're a star player short. Maybe two
Maybe
or
two.
three, or maybe two. But um, it's amazing what you can do with a good coach to get even that far.
Well, as you know, as we've talked about throughout the year, I was pretty happy they didn't make the playoffs either. So
Maybe they win the lottery.
hey, I'll be happy if they get into the top three. But in all likelihood, they'll draft ninth, and that'll be that.
I think there's plenty of talent in this draft. This might be one of the best drafts in a long time. I think that someone is going to grab a superstar, in the middle of this draft. I think it is one of those drafts. And there's some teams that are just really good at it, and there are other teams that are really bad at it. And
Yeah.
the bad teams are generally those teams that are drafting up top. So a lot of these players will slide through the cracks. But I think one of the guys that was drafted at the top recently that I didn't think should have been the top guy, but I was dead wrong. This Anthony Edwards this guy can play, man. This guy is really good. I mean, I guess when you play at Georgia, it doesn't really show all the time, but man, this guy is good, right? I mean, he is really good. I don't know if he's number one overall type stuff. I mean, that was a super deep draft too, but man, he makes his team a lot better. He's not one of these number one picks that sits on the bench for an entire season like some guy in New Orleans or Golden State.
Not naming names.
Not to name names, but James Wiseman and Zion Williamson could be fit into that category.
Yeah.
If we were keeping score. But let's take a look at these NBA games. Right out of the gate, we got the Heat and the Hawks. And we got the number 1 seed against the number 9 seed in the Eastern Conference. Clint Capella out for the Hawks. And generally, of course, I always say the same thing. These are built into the line when these guys are out. But Capella brings a different thing to the Hawks that they don't have anywhere else, and that is toughness. And they're up against some super tough guys here in Miami who are, I mean, these guys don't know the meaning of, this. They're definitely not they have guys that can play the finesse game, but they're definitely not a finesse team. These guys seriously know what they're doing out there. And I don't know. I think they absolutely beat the crap out of the Hawks here. Anyways, Brian, what do you think?
I try to agree with you on most cases, but here I think I'm going to side with the Atlanta Hawks here plus the points. Both teams are playing good spread cover basketball. But I just think this is at most a 2-possession win. So if you can get 6.5, 7 with the Hawks, I think it's going to fall right close to that number. So Hawks are playing much improved basketball in the second half. I think they bring their A game today, not tonight.
Al, I think the Heat win this one by 15-20. How about you?
Well, what I'd rather talk about isn't this particular game, but I'd rather talk about the series for people who like to bet on these series. I think it's actually interesting how it's coincidental, but how the series got scheduled the first Saturday and Sunday. When you looked at yesterday's series, the lower seeded team all did well in the regular season versus the higher seeded team. Dallas, Utah was split 2-2. Memphis, Minnesota was split 2-2. And then the road teams, Toronto and Denver, each won their season series. Toronto beat Philadelphia 3 out of 4, as did Denver against Golden State 3 out of 4. And I think maybe a week ago we talked about it. I did a study several years ago, and I was trying to find out what factors, if any, correlated with playoff success. And I had several theories. I thought, surely regular season series, the games would correlate with playoff success. I thought perhaps point spread differential would correlate with point spread success. And what I found actually was that regular season series success correlates extremely strongly with playoff series success. And I was actually a little bit surprised things like point spread differential had nothing to do with it. Like if you would have beaten a team, for example, if you were a lower seeded team, you would have beaten a team 3 out of 4, and maybe you would have, covered those games by 12.27 points per game. You would have dominated your opponent. It didn't matter if you won these games by 1 point or by 20 points. All that mattered was, did you win? And I just want to give you guys an illustration of just how significant regular season series success is. And what it is that, I guess the best way to say it is, if you had no success versus your opponent in the regular season, if you were basically dominated, and the way I define it is, if you lost the season series by 2 or more games. So if you played 4 games in the season, if you went 1-3, and if you're a lower seeded team, you basically aren't going to pull an upset. You can just forget your pipe dream. But if you had some success, if you lost the season series 1-2, if you won the season series, if you tied the season series, then there's a puncher's chance that you might pull an upset. And so here are the stats. I looked at the first round, the second round, the third round. So I guess since we're in the first round, I'll just give you the first round stats.
How long do these go back, Al?
1990.
1990. Okay. And I have a follow-up question for after we read it.
Okay. So, and then the other thing I wanted to do is I wanted to separate out the series where teams were closely seeded, and I define that as 1 seed. So a 4 versus a 5, a 3 versus a 2, a 1 versus a 2. Sometimes you had a 7 versus a 6. And then, so I looked at the seed, when teams were not closely seeded, and then when they were closely seeded. So if teams were not closely seeded in the first round, so you have the 3 6s, the 7 2s, and the 1 8s. If a team lost by 2 or more games to its opponent in the season series, there were 91 of those series. Take a guess how many of those 91 series did the lower seed pull the upset?
0.
You're close. 3. 3 times out of 91. Now, if the lower seed didn't lose by 2 or more times, so they could still have lost the season series 2-1, or they tied it 2-2 or whatever. There are 95 of those series. Oh, and again, these are the teams separated by more than 1 seed. So out of the 95, so you had 3 out of 91 when the series wasn't competitive in the regular season. But if the series was somewhat competitive, then how many out of 95 do you think the team pulled upsets?
20.
Close, 17. So it's
3 off this one.
Right.
I need a 3-point giver. I got to buy 3 points on these.
Right.
On
Okay.
these.
So if you had no success in the regular season, you had a 3.2% chance of pulling an upset. If you had some success, you were 17.8%. And then it was, similar with the 4 versus the 5 seeds. If the road team, or if the team that was seeded lower was, competitive, if they won the season series, tied the season series, or lost it by only a game, the lower seeded team, the 5 seeds, have actually gone 22-15 in the season series, 59.4%. But if they were non-competitive, if they got swept in the season series, lost it by 2 or more games, then they went 12-13. So when you put it all together, the non-competitive teams were 15-101 in the first round. And then if you were somewhat competitive, you were 39-93. So it's 14.1% compared to 29.5%. And again, it doesn't matter if you won the games by 1 point, by 20 points, none of that mattered. All that matters is, did you win the games? And it holds true in the second round, it holds true in the third round. And then I didn't do the conference for the NBA finals because it's irrelevant at that point, because the team that's seeded has the higher seed, might be the team with the best record, might have home court advantage or whatever. And you only play twice anyway, so it's kind of meaningless. So with that as a backdrop, you look at the matchups on Sunday. Like we talked about how Saturday's matchups, the lower seeded teams all did well in the regular season. Well, not so this year in the Sunday matchups. Miami, I guess we're talking about Miami, Atlanta first here. It was 3-1 in favor of the number 1 seeded Heat. They're only, I put in quotation marks, only, laying 380-400 in the series. I would lay it.
So when you look at your at these numbers, obviously the NBA in 1990 is a different game than what we see today. In 1990, that was kind of like Michael Jordan and I think the Pistons were good, right? Those are the Piston teams, and
Lakers.
Those players, they had to be dead to not play. I mean, they basically had to be dead. If they said, well, you're not playing, they would say, these guys would like take a shot at the coach. The coach would be fired. Who was it? Latrell Sprewell, right? He grabbed the coach by the throat and stuff. It's like this is different. These guys, it's like they look for every excuse not to play. So it's possible that in some of these matchups that key players were out. And we know that the Hawks in particular had a lot of key players out for a good portion of the season. They don't like to play basketball, right? So they're just there to collect the check. They win a few games, they get a playoff check, and then they're out of there, right? And that's just the attitude that they have, and that's why they're soft and they're going to get slaughtered today. But the thing is that, so how have the stats changed? Like from 1990, do we start to see a little bit of a differential as maybe the data isn't as clear with the guys not playing? Or do you think that it's just the data is the data? Normally with your stats, the data is the data, right?
Yeah, and that's the truth. The data is the data. I mean, I did this research how many years ago? Maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago. And I've been betting on these futures over the last 5, 6, 7 years. I've been doing just fine. So... the data is the data. I think the poster child for what you just, discussed is going to be the Boston-Brooklyn series, right?
Oh, yeah, because these guys, once again, they didn't play all season. Kevin Durant, who actually, I would say, of the guys that don't play, he's the best of the bunch of the guys that don't play and actually does care. And I think at times does love the game. But at the same time, he knows his limitations and he doesn't try and fake it like some of the other guys do, and he doesn't really make any excuses for it. But when he comes in, he is all business.
But I was thinking more in terms of the injuries and the COVID-19 protocols and all of that.
Well, Kyrie missed half the game.
Yeah. So I was thinking more along those lines. But at the end of the day, the data is the data, and if someone's going to consider using this as a way to determine if they want to play a series or not, they can inject their own opinion and say, okay, I'm going to stay away from Boston, Brooklyn because there was X, Y, and Z going on. I don't do that. I mean, I just, the data is the data. If you didn't have success in the regular season, it's highly unlikely you're going to have success in the postseason versus that.
Yeah.
If you're not a better team.
I think in this case, in this game in particular, and in this series in particular, is that both teams were missing a lot of players all season. So the Heat, even missing all those players, still got the number 1 seed. They haven't been at full strength all season. I have a feeling this team is really loaded, and they have the most underrated coach, right, in the NBA. This guy's got rings. He's got, they went to the finals in the bubble as the number 4 seed. I mean, they had nothing, and they lost. That bubble was like injury plagued, right? It was like everybody got injured in the bubble. Lillard was injured in the bubble. Jimmy Buckets got injured in the bubble. All these guys got injured in the bubble. And, that Heat team that made it to the finals, it was no fluke. And it wasn't just like a lot of people, that was the least viewed NBA finals ever, right? So it actually works to our advantage, in a series like this, because all they saw was the Hawks last year beating the Knicks in the most public series of all time, and then you have, anything that involves the Knicks in the playoffs, right? And then you have, here the Heat, who fly under the radar. When they had LeBron, they didn't fly under the radar, but now they do. It's like, it's like the Cavaliers without LeBron. Who cares, right? But anyways, Joe, do you care?
I absolutely do care. And I think the Heat come out and just have a dominating day. I'm with you on this one. I think there's just going to be too much for them in this battle. And I think the Hawks have struggled against the Heat. We've seen it in the last 6 games, failing to cover in 5 of those. So I like the Heat's chances of getting this done. I'm also leaning on that under in this one. I think we have a lower scoring game. Bit me in the butt taking the under on that Raptors game yesterday, but I do see defenses coming out strong in this one today.
Jovan, any thoughts here on the Heat and the Hawks? I think I'm not one of those guys that says well, one player makes that big of a difference and the line, it's always in the line. I'm normally that guy, right? It's in the line or whatever. But I think Capella is a difference maker for the Hawks because I think he's the only guy that's not soft on that entire team.
I mean, he's a definitely his absence is definitely gonna create a void in the paint for them because really he's the only one that could consistently rebound and play some defense in the paint. Now maybe they all set that with some a good shooting night. Who knows? But I think in this one, I think the over's in play. I would say the under, except for if you look at these games that Miami and the Hawks have played this season, they've I think trended to the over if I'm not mistaken. And I think this 219 and a half, I think it's the current total. I think it just creeps over that. It it really has nothing to do with pace. I think it for me it has more to do with not the way I think this game's going to go and who's going to be ahead and by how much they're going to be ahead by in the third going into the fourth quarter. And if it goes how I think it's going to go, I'm not really going to get into that, but then I think that I think it creeps over the total.
El Nino's favorites were running yesterday. You missed my little intro, but the favorites were running. That means a good day for El Nino. Absolutely crushed the books yesterday, laying those negative odds and run lines, and puck lines. Anyways, it happens, right? It's like it happens. And congratulations. But what do you think of this one? Heat and the Hawks. I know NBA is one of your focuses. So what do you think here?
It should be a great matchup. But again, as you said, Capella's absence is just going to be huge here. They were not playing any defense at all, even when he was there. I mean, he may have been that interior presence, but they were letting everyone shoot from, like, they weren't trying to guard the 3-point line one bit. And without Capella, I don't see them defending the paint too well either at all. So I think the Heat will get whatever they want here. That being said, they're still laying 7 points, so I would still be careful because the Hawks still do have shooters that can keep them in any ball game if they're making their shots. So I think the over is the way I'd like to play this game best. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think few overs here, and one for the Hawks, a couple for the Heat. So, and Al likes the Heat to win the series, and he says, "Lay whatever you got to lay." It's all there for the taking. I like it. It's a good one. Anyways, game 2. Got the Celtics and the Nets. Another great series, right? I mean, this is awesome. This is one of the better. It's like it was a great college basketball season, and now we have a great NBA season. It's going to be an awesome NBA draft. And it's like, man, the NFL draft is coming up too, right? But anyways, Celtics and the Nets. Celtics, this is the best to me. This is the best the Celtics have looked since the last time they won the championship. This is the best they have looked. They didn't start fast, but they sure finished fast. And when they had their guys in there, Brown, Tatum, and it's like, oh man, it's like that Tatum pick over, they took Fultz. Tatum was there. Oh, let's leave a mark. But anyways, Joe, what do you think? Nets and Celtics. This is the stars are out for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a hard one. I got to look at how the Boston Celtics have been rolling as of late. Like you said, they're playing absolutely phenomenal. 7-3 straight up in their last 10, 7-3 against that spread. Brooklyn Nets have been playing strong straight up, but not against that spread. So I think in this opening game, I think Boston comes out, gets a dominating win here. We have to lay 4 points with them, but they won by 6 back on March 6th. I see a very similar game playing out in this one. So give me the Boston Celtics laying the 4 points.
Big Al, looking at this series.
Yeah, at the start of the year, I made a horrible pick. I had the Brooklyn Nets to win the NBA title. Probably the most idiotic pick I've had in a while. So, I'll be able to make some amends. Hopefully I'll have Boston to win the series for the same reasons as we discussed earlier. They won the season series 3-1. As I look ahead, I mean, if I had to, choose, I think we're going to see a Boston Phoenix, rematch from whatever it was, 1976.
Oh, I remember that series.
Yeah, I mean, the best game
JoJo
of
White,
all
right?
time.
JoJo White had the big series in that one.
I mean, it's just,
yeah.
I mean, is that where we're headed right now? I mean, Boston Phoenix.
Havlicek was in that one. That was a good series. Dave Cowens.
Was Garherd. Garherd, of course, hit that shot. So yeah, I mean, I think Boston right now, they're minus 145 in the series. I'm going to lay it. As far as this game goes, I know Memphis didn't do well yesterday, but typically number 2 seeded teams do real well in the first playoff game in round 1, game 1. They're 42-20 ATS. I would only look at Boston in this game.
Has there ever been a lower seed at a shorter price to win the Eastern to represent the East in the championship than the Brooklyn Nets this season? I've never seen a price this short on a team, that's seeded so low.
What price do you see for them right now to win the East?
Yeah, I think it's plus 185 or something, right?
Yeah, they're second favorite to win the whole thing, I think.
So it's second favorite to win the whole thing.
Hold on. Let me.
Yeah, I mean, it can't, but they're not, I mean, what happened this whole season was not really this Nets team.
No, it's not. Well, we know that, but it's like I just think it's I've never
down now. Wow, they're way down now.
You're because I haven't looked at the NBA Eastern Conference odds. So you're saying they're plus 185 to win the East?
No, they're 425 to win the East now.
They were 185.
Yeah,
before,
they were
like a week ago.
Yeah, we talked about last week. They're second favorites to win the whole thing.
But what? Yeah. I mean, so obviously they just reset the odds because they were anyone who would have taken them at plus 185 a week ago is idiotic.
Well, they thought Simmons was coming back, so they had to reset it a little bit.
Oh, drop it $300.
That has nothing to do with it because it's. I mean, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, you're going to have to go through Boston, Milwaukee, and Miami, all without home court advantage. And then you're going to beat Phoenix. So there's no, I mean, it defies any kind of rational thought to think you would have the odds of plus 185. It doesn't make any sense.
I think they're great value now.
You know, and it's still crap value even in where it is. But so if anyone took it at plus 185, they're moronic, because all they would have had to do would be, you know, take them in each of the series and roll it over. You take them plus 125 now, and then you take them, you know, against as an underdog against the, you know, or not as an underdog, but they'd be, you know, in the pick'em range, whatever, against Miami Heat. They'd take them in the pick'em range against the Milwaukee Bucks, etc. You're going to get much better return than plus 185. So that those odds just don't, they're nonsensical.
I guess not many people took them at plus 185. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even take them at plus 475, but
I don't know. I think they do have some value now. I wouldn't look at them.
Not if Ben Simmons plays.
They have no value.
None.
Oh, please.
And I define value as, are they good odds? I mean, you could get better odds by just taking them in each individual series.
Okay. If you look at that,
I mean, there's no value in taking them in that futures bet at plus 475.
I mean, I don't like many futures to begin with, but yeah. Yeah, in that case, yeah, I'd rather bet them in individual.
I mean, if you just if you're just pick them in 4 series, you know, the true odds are 15-1, right? And they're going to be an underdog against Phoenix. They're going to be an underdog against Milwaukee. They're going to be underdog against, you know, Boston. I mean, you know, it's not plus 475 is moronic.
Okay. Plenty of reasons I don't do futures.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just if you have to win 4 pick 'em series, it's 15-1. And then these aren't pick 'em. So, yeah, no value in the Nets.
I mean, I'm just saying, if you want to get some, I mean, for people that are interested in them, I mean, because we went through that, I think, last time. And we do get asked that. But I mean, I know a lot of people that love betting futures, but I mean,
Right, but people have to understand what the true odds are. So the way to do it is to just roll it over in the series. You just have to bet at the first series, take your stake and your profits, roll it over to the second series, take your stake and your profits, and you just keep rolling the whole thing over, and then that's how you can approximate 15-1. You don't have to take 475. I mean, don't give the bookies the money.
I mean, yeah, same way like parlays, you're not getting your true odds on those either. I mean, same thing. I mean, really. Yeah,
I mean, if you play a parlay, you should, if they're not separate. I mean, you could. The only reason you should do it is 2 reasons. One, if there's no window of time between the 2 games, right? So you don't have to roll. There's no way you can roll it over. And then the other reason is odds can change. So if you want to lock yourself in the odds, even if the game is played at 3:00 and then at 9:00, you might say, well, I want to bet the parlay now because the odds could change.
Yeah, but wouldn't you have better odds just betting them individually at the same time, though, right?
Well, you would roll it over. I mean, it's not, you know, again, you could, if you bet them individually, you're just getting, you know, 11 to win 10. But if you want to try to get better than 13-5 or whatever, you know. Anyway, so I mean, there are some reasons why you might want to do a parlay. But
hey, Al, have you ever won a bet?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yes. I don't understand the question.
Just because Bruce Hayward in the comments is bragging about that he won on the Sixers yesterday. So I was just wondering, we could just sit here, we could just sit here and talk about all the bets we've ever won. It's like, I mean,
don't rain.
I never understand it. I never understand. I never understand
on his parade. He's happy you won a bet.
I never understand it. You know, it's like, why tell us about your pick yesterday and how great it was? You know, it's like, you know, it's like I love all our audience, but I never understand I mean, I get to win 100% of the games I pick after they are over. In fact, I've got a shirt that says the same thing. But I just don't get it. It's like, you're all stupid who took the Raptors. It's like, you could have told us that yesterday. It's like, anyways, Al Ninos, what do you think here?
Where are we at? We're at great series. You said
on the same game.
Yeah, got a little sidetracked there.
That's good.
Should be a great series, but again, I think I'm looking at the over in this one. Just think too many scores on both sides. Just don't think this number is high enough. I think they cover it rather. I mean, I don't want to say rather easily, but I think it goes over.
Jovan, any excitement about the Celtics this year in Boston and the prospects of possibly taking it all the way home? I know they love their Celtics.
I mean, absolutely. If you're around the North End, North Station, Causeway Street area, that whole area, West End, wherever they want, they want to call that area, you're gonna see, a sea of green today, just being in that area. So the city's excited, of course. I think for this game, I'm not. Well, I'm not saying I'm not betting this game, but I didn't put this one out or anything like that. I want to see how it, how the game, breaks down. But I'm on the Celtics in this one. If you look at the 4 games of this series, 3 of them were blowouts. Like Al said, the Celtics won 3 of them, and the one that was a closer game, the Celtics won by margin in that one. Also, they won by 6. So none of the games were within the point spread right now, and I think it holds true to form in this one. I'm on the Celtics in this one. I mean, not just for fan reasons, but I just think that in game one, how everything breaks down, how I think the flow of the game goes. I think it is a higher scoring game for game one. Brooklyn, they don't really bring much to the table defensively. The Celtics do, but they have box office stars in Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. So those two, they're gonna get this. On the other side, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart, and others. They have a deeper bench in my eyes. That could put the ball in the hoop. So I think Celtics, and I think the over in this one.
Brian?
Yeah, I agree. Mostly with Javon there. I like the Boston Celtics here laying the points. I think it's a plant your flag type of game for Boston. I think they're the best team defensively in the NBA, right there with the Suns. But I think it's more of an old school Eastern Conference game, bloody nose type deal. I just think Boston has to win game one, and I think they cover it.
All right, I think we're gonna see a war. I think this series. I think this series goes a few games. I think that's for sure. This is one of the better ones. Got the next one up is the Bulls and the Bucks. Now these guys, this is one of those geographical series. These guys are super close. These cities are really close to each other. The Bulls obviously back to the playoffs. It's been a while for them since they've really been relevant. It did make the finals that year with Rose. Kind of that off year. It's almost forgotten about at this point. But the Bulls haven't been. They have not finished the season the way with the kind of momentum that you want going into the playoffs. I know that a lot of sports teams, they kind of tank it at the end because they just figure they'll rest their players and everything like that. But the Bulls, I don't know, man. Something fell apart there at the seams, kind of like the Cavaliers, where it's a young team and the grind of an 82-game schedule, which we haven't seen in the NBA in a couple of years now. None of these, a lot of these young players on these teams haven't played an 82-game schedule. This was their first year doing it. And, because there hasn't been one in 2 years. The last time there was an 82-game schedule had to have been 2019, right? So a lot of these players, have never seen that. And that really accounts for teams like the Cavaliers and the Bulls kind of, running out of steam at the end of the season. And then some of the veteran teams being able to pour it on at the end because they've been there, done that. And they know how to manage, an 82-game schedule. But the Milwaukee Bucks are the defending world champions. They are who they thought we were, right? These guys, they love to blow out the bad teams at home, but I don't know if the Bulls are a bad team, but they certainly have had their way with them. Brian, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, I'm not the type of guy that loves to lay all these kind of points, but I think with the Bucks, you have to today. The Bulls kind of fell apart like a cheap suit down the stretch. Not good against Bulls. They aren't good covering against good teams like the Milwaukee Bucks. I think the Bucks take them to task thing and win it by 20. I think this is the blowout game.
Jovan, I actually agree with Brian on something. What do you think?
I mean, really, by judging by how the last 10 to 15 games went on with the Bulls, I have no choice but to agree. I was fading this team often down the stretch, and I really have no reason to not fade them. I mean, sometimes the Bucks get lackadaisical, with these type of games, but it's the playoffs. So game one, I really expect a 15 to 20 point blowout, to say the least. I mean, the Bulls are missing Lonzo Ball. They're missing that floor general, that sets the table. DeMar DeRozan, he's not looking his last couple games, I don't think he looked all that hot. Zach LaVine, he was injured down the stretch, so he wasn't playing. He's probably going to be playing in this one, but yeah, I mean, I really don't see a path for at least for game one for the Bulls to keep it competitive. So I'm on the Bucks.
Al Ninos.
Oh man, I was just checking your betting tools for the first quarter ones on this one. Probably like the Bucks in the first quarter, but I don't know if I can lay the whole 10.5 for the whole game. And it looks like it's headed to 11 too, so I don't know. And yeah, total is hard to call on this one. If I had to choose a side, I wouldn't lay the 10 point. I just don't think they're gonna blow the Bulls out by double digits every game. So if I had to take a side on this one, I would take the points. I just can't lay 10 points consistently like with the Bucks. I mean, maybe wait for game two, and maybe you'll even get a better number with the Bulls game two. But as of right now, it's a tough one. Maybe go Bucks first quarter and then a slight lean to the Bulls full game. But yeah, probably Bucks first quarter.
Big Al, we know who won the season series between these two.
Yeah, this was the only season series that was a sweep.
Yeah, this was not close.
So this was the biggest. And that actually really does not bode well for Chicago, because when, we talked about, when teams were not competitive, and that included losing the series 3-1. But if you lost the season series by 3 or more games, then it really gets ugly. In that instance, if you're not a closely seeded series, so you're a 2 versus a 7, a 3 versus a 6, etc. In the first round, you're 0-44. In the second round, you're 0-11. And then in the third round, you are 1-2. So you put it all together, you're 1-57. And if anyone knows which team is the one that, upset the higher seeded team after losing the season series by 3 or more games, and you get the gold star. I, of course, know. But
Reset the question. I might know this one.
Which team lost the season series by 3 or more games and then pulled an upset in any of the conference playoffs when the series wasn't closely seeded? So it wasn't a 4 versus a 5 or a 1 versus a 2, etc.
The Raptors and the Bucks?
Denver Nuggets?
No.
Are you talking about the Golden State Warriors and the Mavericks that year?
No, much to my chagrin, it was the Houston Rockets. They were seeded 6th, and they lost a season series to the Spurs 5-1 in 1995, and then they, beat the Spurs in the conference finals 4-2. Only team to, go against.
The Rudy Tomjanovich. What was that? The second one they won, where he made the little speech. Yeah.
Oh yeah. They're loaded.
But I mean, yeah. So to me, this is low hanging fruit. I know a lot of people aren't comfortable laying $1,600 to win 100.
That's the most stacked number 6 I think there's ever been. Is that Rockets team?
Yeah, I mean, this is the most stacked number 7 we've seen with the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, I get it, but it's
but you got Hall of Famers across the board. You got Drexler, Olajuwon, like even the other guys, on the team. You got Sam Cassell was on that team. It's like,
and you ask yourself, how the hell did they not win 2 out of the 6 regular season games, but they didn't. You know,
I'll tell you one of the reasons wasn't there was no load management going on. I'll tell you that much. You know,
well, they got Drexler mid-season, right? They got him in February at the trade deadline or whenever the trade deadline was. Interestingly, the only game they won out of the 6 had no line on it. They won the game, I think, by 3 points. I don't know. You know, I'd have to go back to see who was actually injured, why there wasn't a line. But, you know, maybe David Robinson didn't play. I can't remember. But anyway, it's, you know, Chicago doesn't have any excuses. To me, you know, I have no problem laying $4,800 to win 300. I'm going to take Milwaukee in the series.
Kenny Smith was on that team.
Take the money. So
Mario Ellie.
They finished 3rd in the division. Man.
Yeah, the Spurs actually were pretty good that year. I mean, that was heartbreaking.
Then the year after David Robertson went down for the season. Then they got Tim Duncan in the draft.
That's a long time after that.
Yeah,
that was the 95-90.
96.
I'm sorry, that was the 96-97 season is when they drafted Duncan.
Right.
So
the year
went
before
out.
that,
So this was
went out.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. David Robertson went out for the year in the 95-96 season.
It was 2 years prior to it was 2 years after the 95 season.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 years after, because it was that was the 94-95 season when that happened. So anyway, this game, you know, I'd look at Milwaukee. They swept the season series, and when you get a team in game 1 of a season series that's playing with double revenge like Chicago is, playing with quadruple revenge. But you know, those teams, if they're a big underdog of more than 6 points, they're 42-70 ATS in that game 1. You know, which kind of dovetails with everything we've been talking about. I mean, if you've got double revenge, you probably lost the season series pretty big. And you know, if you're a big underdog, you're not going to do well in game 1. You're not going to do well in the series. So I would lay the points with Milwaukee.
Madden.
Yeah, in this one, I got to go with the over. I think we're going to see a higher scoring one, especially if the Bulls are able to get some points. And I think they will. I don't know if it's hard for me to take Milwaukee laying 11. I think I would lean toward taking the Bulls plus the points, but I do think the over is strong in this one with the Bulls coming off rest. They play stronger off rest. They've covered the spread in 4 of their last 5 games off those 3 days or more rest, and they've trended so strongly to this over, getting the points on the board off that rest. And the Bucks, we know they can get 1 million points on the board. So I got to ride the over 229.5 in this one.
The Bucks love the blowout. They just love the home blowout, especially against the teams that they, know they can blow out. And it's like they're definitely that type of team, and I think this sets up to be that kind of day. Opening day of the playoffs. It's a holiday. It's all those, It just seems like it's a horrible spot to be a road team today. I think this is one where you lay the extended. You start looking in the 17 to 20 range. I don't know if I go to 20.
I wouldn't do that. I mean, the break point for the NBA playoffs, for a lot of this stuff is 11 points.
But normally, if there's a blowout of blowouts, it's usually game 1. Most of the times that we've seen, like the Boston Massacre was game 1. Where it's like they win by 40, 50 points.
Yeah, but with a lot of these games, when I'm looking at laying a lot of points, like my cutoff's generally 11. Like I'll lay up to 11, and at that point, I'll just kind of back away.
Didn't the Celtics beat the Rockets on Labor Day? Like another same thing, like holiday. They beat the Rockets on Labor Day or Memorial Day. They beat them by like 60 one year. I mean, it was like a beatdown. In the championship, it just shows you how far back the playoffs are being pushed these days, right? That was the championship. I think that was 86, 85.
Yeah, 86.
86. Yeah, I remember I was in Boston those days. I was at a bar and they sang We love you, ML. Yes, we do. The entire game, except one verse, first one of the second half. We love you, Kevin. Then back to ML.
No waving a towel.
Yep. Those are the days. Anyways, go back to our final game of the night in the NBA, and it is the Suns and the Pelicans. Boy, hats off to the Pelicans. They've looked really good in the playing games, and you can't, I don't think it really helps them to not be in the lottery, but you gotta give it to them, right? I mean, they've done it. They've looked exciting too, right? The way that they've done it, throwing down those dunks. Like whenever the game seems to get close, it's like they just have these monster dunks in these last two games. Al Ninos, what do you think here? Pelicans and Suns. I don't know, man. It's like I mean, the Suns are the best team, right? I mean, they have the number one defense in the NBA. They were the best record. All of those things. They lost in the finals last year, so they're going to be hungry. But all those things I agree with. But I'm just saying we gotta give it to the Pelicans, for making it this far. I mean, missing their best player, all season, no excuses here. The Lakers are watching this game.
I don't know what the hell the Lakers are doing or have been doing, but I'll tell you what, I kind of disagree with a lot of that, Mitch. I'm sorry. I don't think the Suns are the best team or the best anything, really. I said that before.
Really, you're a front runner all the way. You love big favorites, and it's like you love laying odds, and you'll lay like runs, odds, goals, and it's like no problem. -200, I'm in. It's like, but you don't like the Suns here on the money line or something.
I've taken some puck line usually with that -200 too, but no, not one bit. The Suns -105 to win the West. No, +240 to win it all. No, thank you. I don't think any of that. And again, the same thing I said. I don't think they blow these Pelicans out 4 games in a row. They can't lay 10 points with the Suns. As you said, the Pelicans have been playing well since they picked up McCollum.
I'm not saying in relation to the spread today or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm saying the Suns had the best record in the NBA.
That's fine.
They have the number 1 ranked defense in the NBA. They've earned this spot. It's like
I said, the West isn't.
I guess they're not the number 1 defense in the NBA. Anyways,
the West hasn't been as tough this year too. So I don't know their schedule. I guess I have to go back and look at their schedule if I want to say how impressive those stats are. But they're not playing the teams they've been playing all season long. I mean, Pelicans not the best team in the league either, but they've been playing well, and I think they play well enough to keep this one close. So I would take the points here and. Slightly into the over, but I like the 10.5 quite a bit with the Pelicans.
So the Suns are 39-13 versus the West. So that would make them 25-5 versus the East.
That's an interesting stat. Yeah, well, I don't know. I still don't see it. I may be wrong. I've been wrong before, Mitch, but I don't see it. They're a good team. Don't get me wrong.
No,
but I don't know. I've always had something.
They're not monsters against. They're not monsters against the number. I haven't said that. But I'm just
even
saying,
though I like a lot of things about Chris Paul, but I just don't see him winning many NBA championships. Unfortunately.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Sorry. Yeah. Nothing. I mean, not nothing personal. He's a great player. He's one of the smartest players in the league. He does a lot of things very well, but I don't think he's going to win many championships unless he teams up with. I think he needs a different squad around him to win. Still, I don't think. I mean,
all right,
it's not like he's cheap enough to load up too much around him. But I don't know.
Jovan, I just don't see it. Chris Paul going to cost his team a championship?
Cost his team a championship.
Not in my book.
I think. I mean, if they don't win it, I don't think it's his fault. I mean, I don't know.
No, and you know what? He'd probably need a whole lot of credit if they do win it. But I think it's be tough for him.
I actually think he gets a lot more. I think he gets a lot more credit than he should. You know, I'm with you on that one, but I don't think he's a liability.
I don't think he's alive. See, that's tough because I don't think he can carry you to a championship. I think on this squad
Oh, he
right
hasn't.
now,
He hasn't.
he's too much. He needs to do too much with this squad to win. If he had other players, maybe he could win.
He's
He
got
wouldn't
Booker.
hurt you from winning a championship. I don't think
Booker's
he could.
not another player.
He's a great player. Aiden's a great center too. I just don't think they're good enough with Paul to win.
No, I beg to differ. I mean, he's upped his fellow players' game since last year. He's basically showed them how to win, and everywhere he goes, he does the same thing. He did it in OKC, took them to the playoffs. How do you take an OKC team like that to the playoffs? I have no idea, but that's what he did. And I think that they're basically this year they're on a revenge tour. So I mean, I got them penciled in for the finals, but that's just me. But it's going to be a hard road. But everything breaks good for them because you don't have a Utah Jazz team that's as strong as last year. You still have question marks with the Golden State Warriors. You have a young Memphis team who is going to have a hell of a fight, getting out of the first round because Minnesota does have their number, so they might get upset if you want to call it upset. I think things break right for them to make the finals. And once they get to the finals, you don't know, so because the East is strong. So
Brian, as Big Al has been pointing out to us, the NBA series, playoff series, run chalky. Even though Al Nino begs to differ here, they run chalky as far as the series go. What are you thinking in this game?
Yeah, I was shocked that Al doesn't have his Phoenix Suns hat and jersey on yet, but that's okay. I'm sure maybe Rod somewhere has his hat going on.
I think they have a better chance of sweeping the series. I don't know than covering 10 points every time. I don't know.
Well, we didn't say that. I said they were the best team in the NBA during the regular season.
I disagree. I mean, they may have the best record or whatever, but I disagree.
That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I don't think they're the best team. No.
There's two things I know about sports that I can tell you 3 definite things about every single thing in sports. Number 1, your record is your record. The score is the score. And as Joe and I say on our weekly show, someone will win and someone will lose.
Last thing about Chris Paul. I think if you give him a very good small forward, power forward, like one of them, Giannis, LeBron's, or one of them, then he could win with a decent center. He wouldn't even need that great.
I think you need to write a letter to the team.
The Lakers. I think he's upset that Chris Paul's on the Lakers.
Yeah, if he would have teamed up with Kobe, I think he would have had a shot. But I don't know. I don't think Booker is quite there.
We could Al Nino's unsolicited advice to the Phoenix Suns. We could write a book, and maybe we can get someone from the Suns organization to respond. That would be awesome.
No one ever listens to me. You know that, Mitch.
No, I'm listening. You swept the board yesterday. I'm listening. I'm all ears here.
That was close. 1 run off. Oh.
For me in this game, I'm going to take CJ McCollum under 24.5 points, and I'm also going to take Brandon Ingram over 24.5 points. Those are 2 props today I like on this game.
CJ's been awesome.
I know he's been awesome.
I know. I'm not making a statement about the game or your prop or anything like that. I'm just making a general statement. This guy is one of the best pickups for this team. I mean, they need a shot. This guy's made it every single time.
I think he gets a little bit too much focus on him today. So I think Ingram steps up and fills in.
Well, I know the last several weeks, Big Al has said the Phoenix Suns are going to win the NBA championship. And here we are.
I haven't said that.
Well, you said no one's going to beat the Suns.
I think they would be my pick if I had to pick a team to win. I think they're still an underdog to win the NBA championship. I mean, I think Boston has had a better efficiency rating this year than Phoenix by a scant amount, but they have. I mean, if you look at efficiency ratings, Boston's number 1 in the NBA and Phoenix is number 2, but they're in a virtual tie. And I do think if I had to bet on it, Boston and Phoenix would be the 2 teams I would take. But I think Phoenix, if they're going to be upset by somebody, it's probably going to be Golden State, right? With an outside shot of Memphis. But as Jovan was saying, I mean, Phoenix has a nice path. They don't have to beat both Golden State and Memphis. They only have to beat one of them. And that's very beneficial. Utah's been, pretty much dog shit the whole year compared to what they were last year when they were the best team in the NBA. And, so yeah, Phoenix has the easiest path out of any team in the playoffs. And that's just the way it is. They basically only have to win 2 very difficult series. As far as this game goes, as Mitch said, they've got a great defense. You can argue whether or not they're the best or the second best or the third best, but they're one of the top 3. And, when you take a look at how teams do with a better defense than their opponent, that are favored by 7.5 or more points, I think they're like 80-49 ATS in game 1. So yeah, again, it's, whatever the expression is, rinse, wash, repeat, or whatever. It's like, take Phoenix, take them to win the series, lay the 1,600. Take them to win game 1, etc.
So you don't think Chris Paul is going to weigh them down?
Chris Paul's. I mean, I'm not going to argue with anyone who wants to rip on Chris Paul. I mean, he's won nothing in his, NBA career, and he's had some really good teams. And
is this the fan talking? Or is this
I'm just saying. I've got good friends who love to rip on Chris Paul.
I can see it. I can see it. I think he's overrated.
Look, it's justified. I
think he's overrated. I think he's overrated.
I agree. But at the end of the day, some overrated players do win championships. Some overrated players, he's good. He's really, 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 really good. He's just never been able to win. And sometimes, other reasons conspire that, his teams haven't always lost because of him. Sometimes you just lose. And, this year, he's got a really good team. He's playing well, and might be the perfect storm for Chris to finally get the title.
Joe Madden, we got some interesting discussions going on here with this series. Got the number 1 overall seed against the play-in team that, most people, if you would have looked at them all season long, they have a losing record. I mean, there's just no 2 ways about it,
And the only reason they're here is because of COVID.
The only reason they're here, Paul George was out in that game. And it's not like they were dominating in that game either. They won by a few points. You
a lot of points here, though. It's a lot of points here.
It
really is. Yeah, with a Pelicans team that is playing scrappy and a Suns team that hasn't covered their last 5 as a favorite. I don't have a premium or anything on this. We saw the Suns blow them out in the last game, just middle of March there, 131 to 115. I could see this going both ways in this. I'm going to take the under. I think we've got a strong defensive game no matter what happens in this one. Both these defenses are strong, especially the Suns holding teams on the season to 107.3 points per game. Pelicans have been doing well too at 110.1. So give me the under. I think 224 is too high in this one. It's going to be a great matchup. I'd love to see the Pelicans keep it tight. I just think it's one of those games that is going to be so close to that number.
Well, here's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Teams that lose the previous year, in the finals and things like that, it's like they remember that. It hurts, Those are the ones that hurt, and they're going to say, we're not going to let that happen again. And we're going to do whatever it takes to not let that happen again. They're going to bust them up. I think that this series might, I think that we're going to see some decent basketball from the Pelicans, and they might even steal a game here, but they're going to bust them up. It's going to be a crazy crowd. I mean, we've seen Phoenix. Don't they beat up the opposing fans, right? If they root for the other team or something, isn't there videos on the internet of like the fans, like they root for the other team, they beat the crap out of them.
Oh, that was just Raiders fans.
No, it was a Suns game, right? Who are they rooting for?
Suns and 4 guy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Suns and 4.
Wow.
Beat him up with Suns and 4.
He even had his own little action figure. What you call him? What you call him?
Bobblehead.
Almost. One of them
The
little,
pop-
you know, they make those little toy NBA players. They made one of him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah.
Suns in 4. All right. I don't know. I just think the Suns bust them up in this one. I just do. I love the 10.5 points. I love the idea of getting, especially the Suns really haven't covered a lot of these big numbers, but I just think they're going to come out with purpose, and I think it's going to be a crazy crowd in Phoenix for this one. It's one of those things where it's a holiday night, so like a lot of the holiday activities will be over. People they go out, and it's like they might be a little lathered up. You know, about all day to get ready for this one. It's gonna be a tough crowd, and I think it might be too much for the Pelicans.
I think they go over here too. No, I don't know if I said that earlier. I can't lean the over in this one.
All right, well, that's it for the NBA for today.
You
Al,
know, Mitch, I've never looked at it. I'm going to try to find the answer in a couple of minutes. I want to find out how teams do in the first playoff game the next year after losing the NBA Finals the previous season. I'm curious to see what the answer is. I've never looked at that, but I'm going to look at it. Hopefully I can get the answer for you.
Well, you got
it's better than what in other sports, especially the NFL. NFL, the loser of the
they might not even make the playoffs, right?
yeah, right. So,
yeah. In the NBA, everyone makes the playoffs
nowadays.
I'd like to know. Do you know in the NFL what percentage of teams make the playoffs like from one year to the next? Because to me, it always just seems like 50%. You know, 50% of teams that made the playoffs last year make it this year. You know, just seems like half.
It's higher lately.
Yeah, it seems a little higher lately. But there's more teams. There's more playoff teams. So it might be a little higher, but it just seems that always seemed about 50%. And also the NFL is the team where is the league where teams can go from worst to first, the easiest. But this is it's an exciting time of year, you know. It's we'll see how it all plays out. But now we're into also Major League. Oh, what does everyone have for sale? El Nino's coming off of a monster day. And, you know, I credit where credit is due. I like to bust your chops, but man, whatever it takes to get it across the finish line is what I say, right?
Yeah.
Believe me, I'm buying your package today.
Let's go. I like it. I got a little 5-pack, which is all I got today. Just 5 picks, 2 in the 2 in the MLB, 2 in the NHL, just 1 in the NBA today.
How about you, Jovan?
Yeah, I got a baseball 3-pack, NBA 3-pack. My NBA one shut them down Sunday NBA playoff 3-pack, and my Major League Baseball one is Show Me the Money Sunday MLB 3-pack, both $39.99.
How about you, Bryant?
Trying to keep this really good month of April going on. I got my super sharp 3-pack, my 3 best bets for $50 at pickdogs.com. Premium picks. Gonna try to bounce back off of yesterday's 2 and 3. I really love the card today.
You went for the 5 picks as your undoing. Normally you'd stick with your 3. That's your.
Yeah, I went out of my wheelhouse, but you know, I couldn't resist the Pittsburgh Pirates. And well, not the Pittsburgh Pirates. What was it? The Guardians yesterday let me down. So
I know Al has been sitting out baseball season. He's back end loaded here. He's got to have his data to work with. About when do you jump in?
I almost jumped in yesterday, but I didn't get the number I wanted, so I passed yesterday. I passed today. You know, I mean, I've been looking. Just nothing's really been fantastic. So it might be 5 to 10 days away. It might be tomorrow. Who the hell knows? You know, I haven't had any NBA this week either, but I've got an NBA play, my first NBA play since the final day of the regular season. I've got one today.
All right.
You know, got hockey. But but if you give me a few seconds, I could get that answer for you too, as far as the
NFL playoffs.
As far as the NBA, the teams that lost.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get it here. If you guys can keep talking, maybe I'll have an answer in 2 minutes.
You know, it's like when you who was the guy? So Diggs on the Bills, right? he watched the Chiefs celebrate on the field last year, and he was like, he wanted to make sure he took in the whole thing. And then, this year they lost again to them. It was like, oh no. It's like, but I mean, looking back, a couple months ago, really one of the best games, right? I mean, it's awesome. I think the NFL draft is going to be a good one too. While we're waiting for Al, I think the thing about the NFL draft that we have to remember is that there are certain teams that draft guys that we've heard of and we watched, and then there are other teams that are like 100% combine loaded, right? That's all they do is combine. And it's like, to me, the teams that are long-term successful are the guys that draft the guys that we've heard of and we've watched play, and the guys that take these other guys, Trey Lance, right? These are the teams that never end up getting over the hump. But when you look at the Patriots and they took a guy like they took a guy like Winovich, right? Who we saw at Michigan, motor guy, who might not show up on some of these other things, but that's like their type of guy, is like a motor guy that plays the position. They have a bunch of these guys. Most of the guys like you never even hear of, right? And but you know them all. And the other team that does the same thing is the Baltimore Ravens. They always take the guys you heard of, right? Always. And look how long they've been good. And it's like they were missing their top running. They haven't had the running backs in 2 years now. It's like,
I think you see Trey Lance will break out this next year. That's my feeling. So we'll see.
My guess is he's going to bust up.
His cards are going for monster amounts on eBay.
Well, so are Zion Williamson's, but the thing is that Trey Lance is really good at throwing the ball at the other team. It's like he's aiming for the other team when he throws the football, and that's a problem in the NFL. It's like we haven't seen anything from Trey Lance that leads us to believe that he can play a full 60 minutes of football. We haven't seen anything from him that has shown that. He happens to have one player. He happens to have a bailout player on his team. So he's going to be lucky in that respect. That if you just give this guy the ball on every single play, you got a chance. Kind of like Walter Payton was for the Bears.
San Francisco's got a couple guys. Debo Samuel, their tight end.
That's
tight
it.
end's
Nope.
a beast.
Not if you can't throw the ball to him. You can hand the ball to Samuel. Right. Trey Lance can't successfully. He can't throw 4 passes that aren't possible interceptions in a row. He doesn't have the ability to do that. I mean, he aims at the opponent's. He aims at the opponent's secondary and hopes that his receiver. It's like he doesn't understand the timing pattern. The timing pattern is all great, but it's like if the other team's player is there, then that pattern isn't open. It doesn't mean your guy's going to run by and grab the ball in front of one of these corners that runs like a 4.1 40. That doesn't happen in the NFL. Maybe it happened at North Dakota State. A little bit different speed of the game here. In the NFL than at North Dakota State Division II. And I think that's where I always have the problem with these guys. And that's why you see Carson Wentz so bad, right? This is why he's so bad, because he played the game at one speed, and which was a notch below another speed, which is 10 notches below the speed of the game that he's playing now. The NFL, everybody can fly. How many guys in that Division II North Dakota State that he played against run? How many defensive linemen run a 4.6? I'd say 0. Maybe 2 in the entire, thing. In the NFL, they all do. That's the difference. That's why a guy like Carson Wentz, Trey Lance, it takes a super special player to be able to come from that level and excel at the NFL. There's only been a handful of them. I don't think this is one of them, because I'm obviously not an NFL scout. I have no idea, but from what I've seen. Anyways,
I've got an answer for you, Mitch.
Just my 2 cents, and I'll stick with it. Al, what do we got here as far as losers of NBA Finals? Is it Finals or playoff series? Finals, right?
Finals, yeah.
NBA Finals losers, Game 1 of the playoffs the following year.
I've got 16 and 13 ATS. Let me see if I might be missing 1 year.
So it's not that heavy. It's not as heavy as you'd think.
Hold on a second. I might. I did it fast, so I could have a mistake in here. Which, yeah, I definitely have. I have 2 mistakes in here, but I'll get the. Yeah, I've got. It's that's not the correct number. I see some mistakes based on what I did, but it's roughly going to be 50-50.
Wow. I'm surprised. Are you surprised by it, or you just think that that's just the way that it goes?
Well, let me get the final numbers because again, it's a small sample size. So, and I see a few gaps where, the way I had to build the set was kind of wonky. So
Mr. Playtime wants us to get to the picks, man. He wants me to shut up.
Okay.
But the whole thing is that we were just waiting for Al because we wanted to find out the data because we have the Phoenix Suns who are in this situation. We wanted to see what the historic data was on it. So we were just trying to fill time there. So, instead of catering to your every whim, we were just trying to find out actual information that could help us bet today and win some money. Anyways, Al, thanks for that. It's like I don't even get it. It's like Mr. Playtime's mad at me. It's like, oh no, not Mr. Playtime.
No
Please,
more Mr. Playtime for you, Mitch.
Not Mr. Playtime. It's like, we haven't done that bit yet for baseball this year. It's like not Andrew Heaney. Please, anyone but Heaney. It's like, it'll be Andrew Heaney today.
Hey, he did well in his first outing.
He did do well. He has the tools. I mean, the guy has. I mean, it's not like he came up and you want to talk about a baseball card that was expensive, Brian. Andrew Heaney's rookie card when he came out was like through the roof. It was like the biggest thing that ever happened. He was like one of the biggest prospects to ever come down the pipe.
Biggest
Him, he was like a Jason Isringhausen, like that type, but huge. Hayward, right? Jason Hayward. Like these were,
Yeah. We'll get to him in a minute.
Well, we're going to move on to baseball then. Got the early games and the afternoon games. Sunday's always the early. It's kind of the moving day. And then we have, usually a lighter card on Monday. And we see the same pattern all season long where, Sunday, just the one night game. You have the early games and kind of the Central Time games, the West Coast games, 4 p.m. Eastern, and then, the one night game. And then Monday, generally 10, 11 games max on Monday, sometimes even less than that. Tomorrow it's 11. And then back to business on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then Thursday, once again, is always a moving day with day games. And Friday, we might get the day game at Wrigley, which we get this week. And outside of that, it's all night games. And then back to the weekend, where the weekends have been in baseball. So next weekend is a little different, but what we've seen in recent years is a definite push to night games on Saturdays. More night games on Saturdays than I can remember. But let's look at some of these early games. Al, you going to stay with us for baseball? Or?
I'll just listen.
All right.
I'm still trying to get the answer for you on the NBA.
Awesome. I'm waiting for it. We got the Orioles taking on the Yankees, the Pirates taking on the Nationals, and the Red Sox against the Twins. Joe Madden, we saw some amazing plays in the outfield by the Pittsburgh Pirates yesterday. I gotta say, these guys. We saw Soto hit a ripping home run. One of the best home run. My favorite style of home run was the home run that Soto hit yesterday. It looks like it could have been. It doesn't go much higher than the height of the wall, but it's just on a straight line, ripped rope, like no doubter. And if it had any height to it at all, probably could have gone 8,000 to 10,000 feet. Anyways,
That's beautiful. I didn't see that yesterday. They didn't
oh
even show
my
it on the
God.
highlights
Oh,
today.
it was
So
like it was one of those ones like even if you're not watching the TV
yeah,
and it's like you have the sound for that game on, you could just hear the crack of the bat and it's just like, whoa. He is I think he's becoming the best player in baseball. I think he's in that discussion. I don't know. No, he's not obviously not the best player right now. Mike Trout is the best player when healthy. But I think that Soto is in that discussion. And I think there are guys making a lot more money than he does that. Well, let's just say he's going to make a lot of money. He's going to make a lot of money, Joe. But what do you think of these 3 games?
there's some great games in here, and I would lean on the Pirates with that plus money. Again, we saw them get that nice win yesterday, and we see how strong they are at this point during the series, and the Nationals aren't. So I'm going to lean on the Pirates here to get another win with that plus money, and then I'm going to lean on the under between the Yankees and the Baltimore Orioles. I think the Yankees end up getting it done. Again, they're strong against left-handed pitchers, but I think this is a lower scoring one, and I prefer that better. We've seen the under hit in their last 5 meetings here, and I think with these pitchers up, that we do have that under 8. So give me the under, and I lean on the Yankees, but the value just isn't there for me to take them at minus 185, and I can't trust them on that run line. So the under, I think, is the best play.
Brian?
Yeah, I'm going to take a crack here at the Baltimore Orioles plus the 1.5 against the Yankees. They played the Yankees competitively. Yesterday, they kind of blew up a little bit. Yankees got the run line cover. And then I'm going to go back to the Pittsburgh Pirates. I'm a glutton for punishment. I like what Carlos Quintana, how he pitched in his first start. I think he carries over, and I like the plus money here. Give me the Pirates. That's the better bet of the 3.
Jose Quintana, and of course, would you trade Eloy Jimenez and Dylan Cease for him?
No, not at this point, but for the Pirates, it's a nice veteran arm out there for him.
Would you ever do that?
No.
That's what happened. Jovan, these 3 games, anything for you?
Yeah, so at first glance, looking at the pitcher matchup with the Yankees and Baltimore game, I was looking at the over, but then I started looking at peeling it back, and neither the Yankees or Baltimore hit lefties well, and you got 2 lefties going on the mound. You got the Yankees hitting a whopping 192 against lefties, while Baltimore's hitting 207, and the bats haven't been cracking. There's a crosswind from left to right in this game, so I'm on the under. I'm gonna take a shot with the under in this game.
El Niños.
Yeah, I was gonna say over on that one. He just made a lot of good points. But I do like the Red Sox a little bit. Waka, tough to back, but he looked good in his first one, and I think he gives him a shot here, especially without Byron Buxton in the lineup for the Twins. So I like the Red Sox a little bit today.
I like the over prop in Waka strikeouts. He throws over 4.5 strikeouts 70% of the time. Last time he had 4. I think he goes a little bit longer in this game, and he gets at least that 4.5. But this is a prop that hits 70% of the time, and you're getting almost even money on this thing. So I just like the value prop on that prop of the over 4.5 on strikeouts for Waka. I think that I think Pirate home run props here are a good thing to look at as well against Patrick Corbin. Corbin, he was decent. This is a guy that we saw was a good pitcher, right? And when he was in Cleveland, he had kind of that better tutelage, I guess you call it. I don't know what you really call it, but something like that. And what I saw last year from Patrick Corbin was when he misses, the ball is right down the middle of the plate. I mean, when he misses his pitch, which he missed more than ever last season, it was right down the middle. So I expect that he's going to miss today, and I think we're going to see some Pirate home runs. I think we should look for these Pirate home run props. And I also like run first inning in that game as well. I like the Pirate team total over as well, and Pirates first 5 innings. as well, and whatever else we can get.
Whole game over, 8 runs.
You know, so I just think we can look at some of these Pirates here and say, you know, I'll tell you, they have some nice players there. I think Hayes is really good. You know, we saw they have some good young players on this Pirates team. They always do, and then they trade them away. I thought Gamble, the 2 catches that he made yesterday were just phenomenal. He had 2 highlight reel catches. He's like one of those young guys that like he makes the highlight reel catch, and then he's watching the replay on the board. You know, he like stops the watching because it's just freaking amazing diving catches. Of course, I was on the wrong side of those, but still, you have to just tip your cap when they beat you on those. Anyways, got the Toronto Blue Jays up against the Oakland A's. Got the opposite ends of the spectrum going at this one. Alek Manoah, who's seen as the prodigy, up against Adam Oller, 20th round draft choice, 615th player selected in his draft class. Got he's only one of those 2-inning guys. Then you got Hernandez up against Wheeler in Miami. The Phillies took out the ugly stick on the Marlins early and often in that game on Saturday. Wow. I mean, it was like they just took out some frustration, just beat down. And Rogers struggled to find the plate. They really didn't get any kind of calls whatsoever, and it didn't matter. I mean, he just got crushed. And his defense didn't help him. You know, the Marlins had some chances, and, you know, if there's any team that's going to blow an 8-run lead, it is the Phillies. And, you know, we saw the Marlins certainly looked like they were going to rally at times. They just couldn't get it there. And then, you know, we saw then up against Zach Wheeler, who minus 145 was suspiciously low here. And you have David Peterson here for the Mets up against Humberto Castellanos for the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks cracking that Citi Field losing streak yesterday behind Zach Gallen, pitched a gem, and the 2 runs that the Mets scored were at the end of the game. So Gallen was not responsible for those. So it was like a late 2-run home run for the Mets, 8th inning. And then the D-backs shut him down from there. El Ninos, any of these 3?
Give me a quick second. Where we're at Blue Jays. Yeah, I like the A's a lot yesterday. I mean, it's great value again, but it's a much tougher matchup, at least with the starting pitchers. So probably a stay away from me today. I like the Giants again. I liked them yesterday. I think
they're not in the slot. We did the Blue Jays, A's, Marlins,
just
Phillies,
single game,
Mets, and Diamondbacks. Just those 3.
Okay, sorry. I thought the Giants were in that slot.
No, we kind of just moved 3 at a time here. It keeps it all within itself.
My bad. Yeah, it's a good strategy.
Or we could do El Nino's time. We could just throw out 6, 7.
Probably slight lean to the Mets -1. That was that disappointing 1-run loss for me yesterday. But I think they bounced back. I mean, just a much better team. Don't love the starting pitcher, but I think they get the job done. And yeah, that's probably my favorite one. I guess slightly into the Blue Jays to bounce back, but you have to go run line. I don't love it at all, but if I had to bet that game, I would go Blue Jays -1.5.
Jovan?
Yeah, looking at this Phillies Marlins game, you know, for me, I really have no choice but to go with the over in this one. You know, I see Zach Wheeler's on the mound. He pitched well, but the way they treat pitchers nowadays, going less than 5 innings, you know, it really doesn't sit well with me, especially when you have a supposed frontline pitcher like Zach Wheeler, and he's only going 4 2/3 in his first start. Now, you're going to rely on a Philly bullpen to get the job done for basically half the game. I'm not buying it. You know, also with Hernandez going for the Marlins, I see him giving up a few runs, and if he doesn't get taxed, then their bullpen could also get taxed like they did yesterday. So I'm on the over in this one. Short number, saw 7.5. So I think they get to 8 at least.
Brian?
Yeah, I agree a lot with what Jovan said. This number for Wheeler looks fishy to me. It's very low. I don't think Wheeler goes more than 4 or 5 innings, then it gets handed over to the Phillies bullpen, which isn't very good. I like the Marlins plus money here. I think Phillies show their colors of choking. And I'll take the Oakland Athletics plus the 1.5. The A's continue to get disrespected with these terrible, huge money lines. And I think the Blue Jays get the W, but I think it stays within a run.
Joe Madden?
I think the Blue Jays actually dominate today. I look at Adam Oler out there, and this is his debut season, and I think the Blue Jays lineup is going to be just too strong for him here. Be leaning on the over in this one because of it, too. I know it's come down from 9. It's now at 8.5. Looking for a big day, and I think the Oakland A's can hit here as well. So this over looks too easy. I was shocked it was moving this way. Give me the Blue Jays on the run line. I agree with El Niños and the over in this one.
I would say the Blue Jays' best chance is to get in this one early because there is a kryptonite and a script here to beat the Blue Jays, and we've seen it used so far already. And I mean, this is a team that's loaded with hitters. I mean, this Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is ridiculous. I mean, it's like, what do you do, right? I mean, you see they walked Seager with the bases loaded. I mean, this is the baseball we live in. You know, it's like, can you imagine going out there and telling like Nolan Ryan, it's like, hey, we're just gonna walk this guy. It's like it's like no chance, you know? It's like he would put one in his ear before he just gave him a free pass. You know? It's like, anyways.
Mitch, I got the answer for you if you want it.
Sure.
Final answer, nothing there. It's 13 wins, 14 losses ATS going back.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's the other way. It's
13, 14, 13. Who cares? It's just noise. Nothing there.
All right. I love the Suns today. Anyways, I think blowout. Anyways,
yeah. Don't let the facts get in the way of the narrative, as they say.
Chris Paul triple double. It's like he'll be like, he knows he'll be
MVP.
So Adam Oler's only goes like an inning or two. This is a bullpen game for the A's, and the kryptonite is there for the Blue Jays. The script is out as to how to beat this team, and it's called left-handed pitching, which they can't hit at all. So I think that what you're going to see is a heavy dose of lefties after this. So their best chance for the Blue Jays to get out early, which I'm not saying they can't. Oler gave up a home run to his first batter that he faced in his first major league start, his first major league game. It wasn't his first pitch, but the first batter he faced did hit a home run. It was a blast. It was in Tampa, but I can't remember who it was. But it was a no doubter. Manoah, we know, has the good stuff, but he's one of those guys that I have to say, and it's like, I know he's great, and he's going to be good. Couple things about him. Number one, I think he needs a little bit better conditioning than what he's showing me. Okay. He's a guy that, and I mean, believe me, I'm far from perfect here or anything, but it's like, I think he could be in a little bit better shape than this. Number two, he seems to only really have those big games against the Yankees. Last year, he was very beatable by everybody else, but he dominated the Yankees and did again this season. So I think he's a little overvalued here at minus 263. I love taking a shot. I'm going to take a shot here with the A's. I gave him in the video at plus 1.5. I agree with Brian on that one, but I think you can even go minus 1.5 and might as well go for it. Go for it. The A's have a way of sucking the life out of teams, right? They just do that. Peck and smack home run.
Seen plus 315 for that.
It's got to be more than that at minus 1.5. They're
Plus
plus 220 straight up.
Yeah, I mean they're on the road, so you're not getting as much value for the minus 1.5.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Cover on the road, of course.
It's easier to cover on the road as a minus 2.6 as a plus 220 dog.
The
And
minus 1.5 or the plus. Any run line in baseball is easier to cover because the home team doesn't get if they score 1 run in the last inning, they win. That's it.
You're right. I see 327. 1.5. Oh, you're better off just taking the 220. I don't think there's enough value there to lay a 1.5, to be honest with you. Not seeing it. I'll just take the 220 with Oakland. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Kind of like it even more now. Got the Indians or the Guardians of the Indians against the Giants. Got the Brewers and the Cardinals. Tough series to figure out. We got the Royals taking on the Tigers. Another weird one yesterday there. The wind was blowing in, and it was one of those games that if the wind isn't blowing in, it's probably 12-10, and it ends up being a 3-1 game for the Royals. And it just seemed that Grossman a little bit too much launch, right, in his hits, and I mean they just came up like right at the wall, right? It wasn't even like to the track; it was like beyond the track. It was like right at the wall. It was the wind just holding it in. Same thing with Santana for the Royals. So I think that we need to look at the wind in this game, right? And the total has dropped from 8.5 to 7.5. So my guess is we're going to see the same wind that we saw yesterday. Someone's already done the research for us. Anyways, El Niños and the White Sox and the Rays. Vince Velasquez all of a sudden is a viable option.
He's the best pitcher on the White Sox, probably.
Brian's dream come true. Vince Velasquez is favored every time out. He's seen as a respectable major league pitcher. It's like Brian really worked hard to get to this point. The Tigers game is canceled.
Yeah. Weather.
Yeah. So it's going to be under the 7.5.
Take it while you still can.
So we'll move on then to the Rangers Angels. We'll fill in that threesome. No, actually we have 4 there, right? Guardians Giants, Brewers Cardinals, White Sox Rays, and Rangers Angels. Al Niños, what do you think?
We got the Giants this time, you said, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I like the Giants in that one. And then, sorry, I got a little mixed up. White Sox Rays, that's disappointing from the Rays. I thought they'd put up a better fight. I mean, it's a tough series. It's a great series to watch. It's a tough one for me to bet, honestly. So I think we went over the Cardinals. No, yes,
Yeah, they're in the slot.
okay, awesome. I think they're a nice little dog today. Dakota Hudson didn't do great in his first start, but I think the Cardinals got some value today, and so I like the Cardinals and Giants in that one.
Jovan?
Yeah, I'm on the Cardinals in this one. They're hitting .333 against lefties. Even though Aaron Ashby pitched a couple decent innings, and I don't see that happening today. And I also like the White Sox. Vince Velasquez. I said in the video, you're either gonna get the good Vince Velasquez or the bad Vince Velasquez, and facing the Rays team that's lost the last 4 and aren't looking good, going with one of those opening starters. Yeah, I'm on the White Sox to sweep them out, get them out the way.
Brian?
Yeah, I hate to be in disagreement with Jovan. Me and him are usually on the same page, but I like the Brewers. They've been burning me in this series overall. I think Ashby is going to he had a good start last time out. He just didn't get the W. I think Dakota Hudson is the guy that I always look to go against. I know the number's a little high here, but I think the Brewers are the better team and they get the W today. Rangers and Angels, that line looks very fishy. You got 2 pitchers that are pretty brutal on the mound. I think Rangers need this game more. I like the price. So Texas and Milwaukee, the two that I'm going with in that slot.
Looked fishy
It
yesterday.
did, and they got Angels kicked ass. So
Yeah,
it was that kind of day, though. That's how the day went overall.
It was. I I love Syndergaard there, and I didn't. Oh gosh, it's one of those ones. It works both ways, you know.
Yep,
it works both ways. Joe Madden.
Yeah, I'm really liking the San Francisco Giant Cleveland Guardians game. I do lean with El Niños here on the Giants. I think they come out, get a nice win with Alex Wood. I think we've got a strong pitching duo here as well. So I like the under in that one. And I agree with Jovan on the St. Louis Cardinals. I think they come out too strong. We're getting plus money with them too. And they've owned Milwaukee, winning 6 of their last 7 meetings in Milwaukee. So I'm going to lean on the Cardinals and get some plus money.
I'm going to have to disagree with Al and Joe. I'm going to take the Guardians here against the Giants. I don't think that you get swept in your opening home series of the season all that often. I think that, Savali is a decent option, and the Guardians have the number 1 offense in baseball right now. So I think this is a good spot. Alex Wood, not a guy that I like to put my money on. I'd rather keep my money than put it on him. And I think Savali is a high ceiling guy. We've seen it before. Giants are the Giants. They've been my team, right? It's like for quite some time on these shows. So it's like it's hard for me to let go sometimes, but I'd rather let go of the Giants than let go of my money. I think we're getting a really good value here. It's like I wonder what the Big Al could probably tell us this number too. How many times does the team get swept in their home opening series of a season?
I have no idea.
But you wouldn't think it would be too often.
Well, if you've lost the first 2, you've got a pretty good shot.
How about home teams on major holidays?
Well, I mean, I can give you Christmas NBA data. I can give you stuff like that.
There's an NFL and Christmas data, Thanksgiving. Well, Thanksgiving is the same teams.
Yeah, I mean, I've got NBA.
Lions are going to skew it.
I've got the NBA the game before Thanksgiving because they don't play on Thanksgiving. I've got data on Christmas and all that. But I was just listening. I agree with you. I mean, I don't have a baseball play today. I'm passing baseball, but if I had to have a play today, it would be on Cleveland. They've dominated lefties this year. And
they're averaging over 6 runs a game. A team that was supposed to have no offense, and they have one of the top 5 managers in baseball. It's just I think the Giants are just one of those teams. This is why I love them, because they're the scrappy team. They're the guys that they're not afraid to get dirty. But I just think there's a bad spot. And it's
and Wood in his career, his teams are 10-18 in the opening month of April when he's taking the mound. It's the opposite for Savali, the Indians or Guardians, whatever. 5-1 in April, and his April starts. Home underdog. I'm taking Cleveland.
I think it's one of those games. I think that Brewers Cardinal series has taught me a lesson that when I feel I should stay away from a series or a game, then I should just stay away, because I can't figure this one out for the life of me. It's like, just if you want to win money, I don't have a premium pick on this game. I don't even think I have a free pick on this game. But if you want to win money, just take the opposite of whatever team I got in this one. And people say, I never win a game. I think in this series they might be right. I'm gonna go with that one. I just think this one is really tough. And the Brewers, are a better team than this, but they're traditionally kind of middle of the pack and then pull it out, as everybody else falls around them, which they will. I don't know. Vince Velasquez, to me, even as a White Sox fan, scares me a little bit. He's one of those guys that when you watch him pitch on the mound, it looks like he's going to throw a no-hitter every single time he gets out there. He has like some of the best form in all of baseball as far as pitching, but unfortunately, he puts the ball over the plate a lot, and the guys usually find a lot of it, and that's a hitter's park all the way. And the Rays, not a team that gets swept a lot either. So I'm on the fence on that thing. And the Rangers and the Angels, I say if you're going to Globe Life Stadium today, if you're headed out that way, you're going to want to bring a glove with you. You'll be happy you did. Got Suarez and Perez. These guys, either of these pitchers are fully capable of hitting the over by themselves. Speaking of overs, we go to Colorado, where Austin Gomber is on the mound for the Rockies. They traded Nolan Arenado for this guy. So they really got a lot of belief in him, man, a lot of belief. And I'll tell you what, he's delivered. I think he's got a high ceiling too. I like him. Andrew Heaney, a guy who came into the league with a very high ceiling, up against Tyler Mahle here for the Reds, who was lights out on the road last season. Then you've got the Astros and the Mariners. The Mariners the bats should be in very good shape today because they couldn't get the bat on the ball against Justin Verlander at all in that game. That was vintage dominating Verlander, who I think is the best player, best pitcher in baseball. And if I had a pick of and I understand he's later on in his career, but it's like if I had a choice to pick any of the guys that are in baseball right now to start my team, that's the guy. If you take him in his prime, in his best days in Detroit, of any of the players that are playing in today's baseball, that's the guy who's the one, who's just way better than everybody else. Anyways, Urquidy today against Matt Brash. And then the nightcap in San Diego, Garbage up against Bryce Elder. This could be Petco game's not known for being high scoring, but this certainly has the potential to be there. Joe Madden, any of these for you?
Yeah, I'm leaning on the Braves here against the Padres. I just can't trust the Padres at home here in this one. Excuse my dog. I apologize. My pets got into their Easter baskets when we've been on the show. And he's choking. I apologize. Perfect timing for that. Give me the Atlanta Braves here to get this a nice win. I'm also looking at the under between Cincinnati and the Dodgers. I think we have a lower scoring one. I know these teams do trend to the over when playing each other, but I just can't trust the Reds to get the runs on the board for this one to go over 8.5. And then I think the Astros get a nice win here at on the road here against the Seattle Mariners. The Mariners, I just can't trust them enough to take Houston. I think Houston will struggle a little bit. I could see Seattle getting the first 5, but Houston finishing it up because we know Houston does struggle against right-handed pitchers, but I think they win the full game.
Brian?
Yeah, I like the Atlanta Braves with Bryce Elder on the mound. If you look at his minor league numbers, he was 11-5, 2.75 ERA, and a WHIP of 1.10. I think Yu Darvish has seen better days. I just like the Braves at that price. And then the Reds, how could you not like Tyler Mahle? I think I've been getting burnt by the Dodgers in this series particularly, but with Andrew Heaney, Mitch's favorite pitcher on the mound for the Dodgers, I think I'm going to take the Reds on the straight money line today. I think they got a puncher's chance.
Hate Heaney. Anyways, Jovan. Oh,
yeah. So I'm on Colorado. They've been hitting the lefties pretty good. 303 against lefties. They've been generally doing it with their bats, but their relieving core, yeah, I like what they've been doing thus far. And you don't know when that's going to start, but in the early going, it's you've been hitting if you taking Colorado, so keep the Colorado trend going, and they'll win the series. And if they win, so 3-1, so I think they get it done. And I agree with Brian on this Reds pick. Tyler Mahle, he's a better road pitcher than in that bandbox that he plays in at home. So I expect them to have a strong game, and I would take a flyer on them at almost 2-1 on your money, So I look for these type of plays to get that money, double up.
Al Ninos.
Yeah, a few plays I like here. I do like the Rockies, slightly into the Braves, and did we go over the Astros game in this slot?
Yep, all of them. All the
I
rest.
like the Astros, and yeah, breaks my heart. But I mean, the Dodgers have looked good, but I can't get behind Andrew Heaney at this price. So if I had to bet that game, I'd take the Reds. But I'm not doing it.
All right. You Darvish, it seems like he runs in seasons. He's not like one of those guys that like, has a good outing, bad outing, right? He's like either really good for the season or really bad for the season. It's bad Darvish. Brian will be betting on him soon. He's heading into Bittler territory.
Nah, not him. He's not one of my guys.
Could be.
I need
did you see
Fulmer to
that
come back for the Tigers.
Fulmer was moved to the middle relief.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, I don't know if we'll see it, but Darvish did have a Bittler line last time. 1.2 innings pitched, 8 hits, 9 runs, all of them earned, 2 strikeouts, 2 walks, and a bomb. He's got a 10.57. I mean, that's right in your wheelhouse.
Yep, it's getting there.
He's like, I kind of like it. Yeah. Anyways. Joe Madden, anything going on the ice today? Joe's muted.
Sorry, I was muting myself. I forgot. Yeah, tons going on the ice today. We've got 6 games and some really interesting ones. I think we got a lot of higher scoring games as well in here. So it will be a great day. Puck and Crazy will go off in a little bit. If you guys had any free plays within these 6, I know Al Ninos and Brian, you guys do hockey. So you guys got anything for us?
Big Al does hockey as well.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Big Al, did you have anything in hockey today for a free play?
I've got a premium play for sale. As far as free plays go, no.
Okay. Brian?
The slightest leans here to the Philadelphia Flyers at home. I know Sabres got them, but it's hard to beat a team on a back-to-back spot. I think the Flyers get the W here. Just a lean, very small one.
El Ninos?
I'm going to take a shot at the Islanders. Why not? They've been playing well, getting some nice plus money. They got the rest advantage. Toronto just lost last night, correct? Yeah. Oh, no, they won. Wow. Overtime. They were down. Wow. I missed the end of that one. Sorry. But anyways, I like the spot here for the Islanders. And I said they've been playing well, so I think it's a decent shot.
Yeah, there's some really interesting games out there for sure. There's a lot of games that don't mean anything, like the Buffalo Sabres Philadelphia Flyers game that Brian mentioned there. Both of these teams aren't playing for anything except for pride there. I'd have to go with the Buffalo Sabres in that one because we did see them get that nice win last night. Philadelphia Flyers, I cannot trust at all to save my life. Looking at the Minnesota Wild, I think they can cover the puck line against the San Jose Sharks. The Sharks are just absolutely playing terrible. They have been strong on that puck line on the road, but against a Minnesota Wild team, I don't see it happening. So I think that's my favorite free play of this whole card is the Minnesota Wild laying the puck line -1.5. Okay, Mitch. The rest we'll cover on Puck and Crazy. Nice, quick show.
Yeah, not too many games. Save some for the Puck and Crazy show.
All right. Anyone have any props or parlays that they want to share with everyone?
Sure.
Go ahead, Al. What do you got?
I'll go Astros. Definitely my favorite free play probably today. Then Rockies, Red Sox.
For me, I got the Pirates, the Marlins, and the Brewers all in the money line parlayed up together.
Jovan, any for you?
Yeah, I roll with the Bucks. Not the NBA Bucks, not the Bucks, not the Pittsburgh guys. No, so so the Bucks, the Celtics, and throw a good baseball. What's a good baseball? Money line. You know what? I'm just gonna roll with the White Sox and put them in the parlay again and sweep them out. So yeah, that's my 3-teamer.
I would do 2 3-teamers in basketball. I would take Phoenix, Milwaukee with the Boston Celtics. $100 brings back 89. Then I would do Phoenix, Milwaukee with the Miami Heat. $100 brings back 41.
Oh, I forgot about Miami.
For myself, I'm going to do the Miami Heat, the Boston Celtics, the Astros, the Braves, and the St. Louis Cardinals.
I'm going to take Joey Votto to hit a home run. Straight bet. Joey Votto to hit a home run.
What's that, Pat?
I don't know. Find out pretty easily. Just go to my betting tools, go to players, MLB, click on my player list. Get all the Votto props for today. It is. Oh, man. They must be updating. Ugh, that's frustrating. Yeah, it's updating. I'll check out on FanDuel. It's our other place that we use as our source on here. It is. It's a late one, so we have here Reds Dodgers to hit a home run. It is plus 530. I'll take it. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. It was a fun show. We covered a lot of information there. Those of you that love a lot of picks, I think we gave out a zillion of them again. And of course, while we all give out tons of free picks, we give out as many free picks as we do, certainly going to be games that we like more than others. To find out which of those games are the ones that we like the best, our best bets for today, head on over to pickdogs.com, click on the Premium Picks tab. Thanks everyone for joining us. Make it a winning day. We appreciate each and every one of you. See you tomorrow.